Welcome to the Saints That Serve podcast,
where each week your hosts dive into the crossroads of faith,
culture,
and the unknown. Christ is Lord,
and the kingdom is now. We are the Saints That Serve. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Saints That Serve podcast.
That's the Saints That Serve podcast.
With your hosts.
I'm Johnny.
And I'm Jairus.
And we got some announcements for you.
In this episode 33 of the podcast.
Heck yeah, baby. Episode 33.
Hey, what announcements do you have for this episode?
Fun fact, this Friday, May 2nd, we're going to be doing another live stream worship night.
Because we did that first one, and it just went so well.
Yeah, we had a really good time. So the guitar will be tuned up with new strings.
That's right, because you broke the strings on it last time.
Yeah.
Right on your last song.
Yeah, dude, the providence of God showed through that last song. At the very end of it, string broke.
You literally, on your last strum, too. It wasn't in the middle of the song. You were literally going, da-da-da-da-da, like, ending out the song.
Yep.
And the string broke.
And it popped. And it was like, God was like, you guys are going out with a bang. Here we go. Boo. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to do that again. And it's going to be this Friday, May 2nd. It's going to start off, the live stream will start at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then the music will start at 7. But
Right.
We'll be in the chat and there'll be a countdown, a 30-minute countdown at 6:30. So make sure that you are tuning in and just joining the conversation, joining the worship time.
And just be prepared for a great worship night.
Yep. We'll, as like we did last time, we'll be posting updates throughout the week on social media, and we'll be sharing links to the live stream day of. And fun fact, we need to get a couple more people to like our Facebook page for us to live stream on Facebook.
I believe as of the airing of this episode, we need like maybe 12 or 13 peoples.
Yeah, it was not a lot. They require 100, I think.
Which makes no sense. It's like, hey, you got to know at least 100 people to reach out to people.
No, it's not them. It's you've got to have 100 people that like your page.
That was kind of the joke I was going for, but
Well, we need 15 people to like or follow us on
the Saints That Serve podcast Facebook page.
Correct.
So if you're listening and you say, what is that? That means you're not following.
That's right.
Which means, why don't you go out there and follow? We don't typically beg for, likes or follows or shares or anything like that. But on this particular one, it would help out a lot.
Yeah, it would be great if you guys, because if we can get 100 people to follow us on Facebook, then we can do live streams on Facebook. And if you're not a YouTuber or a Twitcher,
maybe you can be a facer.
Then you can be a facer.
So, yeah, guys, do that, or John and I are going to have to make 15 fake accounts so we can reach out to y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a pain, so don't make us do that, guys.
Yeah, don't make us make 15 different emails just for this.
It's going to be fake STS1, fake STS2.
Yeah.
Watch it be something stupid, too, where you get on there and it's like, you got to be a certain age on your account before you can follow people. So it would be like, oh, you have to be a member of Facebook for X amount of time before you can even follow.
Yeah, that'd be dumb.
Because it was something like that too, where our page had to be a certain age before we could live stream on it.
Yeah.
It was like 3 months before we could do live streams on it. Facebook is weird, guys.
Yeah. Each platform has weird stuff about it. But anyway, so yeah, live streams coming up. If you're on Facebook and you have not followed the Saints That Serve podcast on Facebook, go do that. Just to help the Facebook people out. They need to hear live worship.
That's right. And if we don't get there, Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah. Yep. We'll share links to those. For the most part, that's it. In June, it'll be July. We'll be doing another inductive Bible study core course. It'll be local. So if you're interested and you're in the Georgia, kind of West Atlanta area,
reach out at saintsthatserve@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we'll get you set up and we'll give you more info.
And also that course is free.
Yeah, 100% free. There's nothing you need to pay. You just need to make a time commitment. It's 4 sessions, 1 hour per session. So it'll be the month of July. We'll meet 4 times for 1 hour. And by the end of it, you will be able to dive into God's word
inductively
and get context for scripture and be able to apply it in your life the way it was intended. So there you go.
There you go.
So yeah, that's it as far as announcements go.
All right. So are you ready to get
Sci-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler, this is your transition.
We are transitioning into the main topic of this episode, which is what?
Sci-Fi. So I went the route of, like, I was just looking at putting together notes for my favorite sci-fi.
Yeah.
But I think you went more the route of just sci-fi in general.
Kind of, yeah. So you came to me and you're like, I think you initially said, and I hope I don't step on toes about what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But you came to me and essentially said, I want to talk about a very specific sci-fi show. And I said, let's make it about sci-fi.
Okay.
In a general sense.
Yeah. And
you interpreted that as bring forth sci-fi shows and media that you are interested in. And I interpreted that as just sci-fi in general and talk about sci-fi, which we can get into shows and whatnot. Yeah. But I think that I'm such a big sci-fi fan that I enjoy a majority of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like all the things you're talking about. If I haven't seen it, if I would watch it, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, I get that. And I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll call this our intro to sci-fi and just have like a little side playlist. That way, every time we come back to sci-fi, we can refer, hey, this is the first episode where we talked about sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about my favorite show specifically.
It has your favorite Aquaman in it, right?
Yeah, it does.
It's so weird to see like actors who have made a big name for themselves after hitting that big break, whatever it is. But it's like, wait, Jason Momoa is in Stargate?
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. If you didn't know, my favorite sci-fi is Stargate.
Now, is that Stargate Atlantis, Stargate SG-1?
I enjoy
Stargate, just Stargate.
I enjoy Stargate Atlantis, so I know the most about Stargate Atlantis. But I've watched, SG-1, not in its entirety. I think there's like 10 or 12 seasons.
Mm-hmm. That's the one that is the biggest one, right? SG-1?
Yes, that's the longest running show. And then there's one called Stargate Universe. I think it only has 2 seasons. And then they've got like 3 or 4 different movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it all started with I believe it was 1994 Stargate movie release.
It was just called Stargate.
Just called Stargate. It had, what's the guy's name who plays, he's in Tombstone and he's Star-Lord's dad from...
my goodness. I almost said Jeff Bridges, but that's not correct.
No. I'm looking it up now, guys. Don't worry.
Oh, that's irritating me. You're going to say it and I'm going to be so mad.
Yeah, you are going to be mad because he's big. Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, yep.
It also has James Spader.
James Spader, which he's the one who plays Ultron, right?
Yeah, he does play Ultron. And
he is also the one who says in The Office, why is Jim being mean to the magician?
Yeah. Why is Jim being so mean to the magician? Or no, why is Jim treating the magician so poorly?
That's it. Which is so funny because they paired that up with Doctor Strange, the newest one.
Yeah.
Because John Krasinski plays Mr. Fantastic in that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's being rude to Doctor Strange. And it's so funny how like so many people are now in the MCU that you can just make the funniest references now.
Yeah. I think that, so the show Community that I don't think we've actually talked about it on here, but you and I talk about it.
Community is great.
It is a great show, but I think every single person, with the exception of Chevy Chase, has made some sort of Marvel debut.
What is the main character been? What have they all been in?
Joel McHale, I can't remember. Maybe Joel McHale wasn't in it, but I know that it was.
What about the what's her name? Cheryl, the black lady.
Oh, Cherie, I think is what.
Oh, gotcha. I was close.
Yeah. So Joel McHale has not been in it. I'm pulling it up now. Now I've got to correct myself. Anyways.
Watch it that only Donald Glover was in the MCU. Because I can't think of Danny Pugh, right? That's his name?
Yeah, he was in Captain America.
Oh, that's right. He was one of the desk workers, right? In
Yeah.
whatchamacallit. I'm blanking on it.
And Civil War.
Civil War? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier?
Or no.
Because I thought he was in the...
Is that... Oh, yeah, you're right. Winter Soldier, because that's when they take down Hydra within...
Inside that building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Great movie.
Right.
Best Marvel movie.
Yeah.
100%.
Best one.
It really is. It's got everything a Marvel should have, and we haven't had it since. So,
yeah.
There you go.
So maybe only half the cast. I take that back. I was like... I was probably like, yeah, man.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them are in it. And I'm wrong.
What's funny is you can probably this is just more of a generalized statement, but you could probably more accurately say that all of the actors in that probably have been in a Disney film.
Yeah. Is Masters of the Universe DC or Marvel? It's coming out next year.
No. It's
not.
its own thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Because that's He-Man.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, so I guess it's only half the cast. Wow, Johnny.
Good one.
Way to let everybody down.
You let me so far down.
Yeah.
So anyway, Stargate.
Stargate, baby.
So what's so great about Stargate?
I just like it because it combines like exploration and just all the assets of a good sci-fi with new alien.
They did set up a really good plot vehicle to have any kind of story at any point.
I think part of the allure that they did that was good, especially for SG-1, is that they dove heavy into Egyptian mythology and coupled it into, it was actually space aliens.
Yeah. Well, the thing is you have this portal that can take you literally anywhere, which means you could then have literally infinite stories with these characters.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is so for those who don't know, Stargate is everything in the shows and the movies. They find these gates that create stable wormholes that you can basically transport through to another space. And they call these portals Stargates. And they were created by a race that they call the Ancients, which is like a predecessor to humanity on Earth.
Why is it that it's always in all media, it's always the ancients, the precursors, the guardians, it's always something that came before.
Yeah.
That's always technologically more advanced than what we currently are.
Yeah. I would say that because we like to look at it as linear, so that I guess it makes us feel better about where we're at technologically. But if you look at history, it's like there's different technologies that get developed as mankind progresses. And then whenever the catalyst or the forerunners of that movement of progression fall apart, then a lot of that technology is lost. And then man, to an extent, starts over.
It's always an interesting, though, plot point to a lot of sci-fi. A lot of fiction does it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we lose knowledge in the real world, you know, like, but we do find it. And it's not that we're more advanced than them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make them stupid either. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But always in sci-fi is like they were always better than us.
Yeah. Fun fact. I thought it would be funny to make a movie about where aliens come to Earth to pick a fight, but they focused for all of their history, they focused on space travel, and that's it. So all their technology has to do with being able to travel through space, but all their warfare technology is very like Iron Age basic. And they show up to Earth and it's like humans have been fighting for thousands of years. And so we've gotten really good at it. They just wipe the floor with them.
Right. That almost just seems like an episode of Black Mirror or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Where it's like an advanced civilization, but not advanced in war.
Well, it's almost like the whole time, you know, we're prepping and all this stuff. It almost just seems more like a comedy bit, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Where it's, you know, the whole time, like the aliens are in the sky. We see them and it's like somehow or another, they are here to hurt us. We know that they're here to attack us.
Yeah.
And then when they finally land and we're prepped, they just come out and it's just like you said, such primitive tools to fight.
Yeah.
Because they focus so much on travel instead of warfare. That would be very funny. It's just like they come running out and we're just like, oh.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, it would be funny because then it would be like, you know, humanity gets their hands on their technology and figures out how to space travel. And they start traveling all over space and find out that everyone else in the universe has not focused on warfare and defense. They focused on other things. And so it's just very easy to take over the world.
That is
very British colonization-esque.
I thought you were going to say very British comedy-esque.
Oh, yeah, maybe that too. No, but in Stargate, they push hard on, so the Goa'uld is like the main bad guys.
The Goa'uld?
The Goa'uld.
Like a gold ghoul?
Goa'uld.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, like, just a little bit of, you know, backstory here. I've only ever watched Stargate with whatever you have watched if I've came over and hung out. So
you don't even know about the Goa'uld because you only watched Atlantis.
Correct.
So you know about the Wraith.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, but their like tech is very Egyptian-esque. So like all their spaceships are pyramids and different stuff. And that plays into, I think it catches the attention because we've got pyramids all over our world. And a lot of them, we can't explain how they built them because like for the dating of when they were built and the tools that we believed humanity to have at the time don't work for the size of the materials and movement and placement and all that stuff. So it's like the pyramids, especially in Egypt, they're a mystery because it's like, how did they do this? So if you involve aliens in that, it's like, oh, simple, aliens. They came and helped. But anyways, yeah, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I really like Stargate, specifically Atlantis is what I've watched the most. And with Stargate Atlantis, there's this alien race called the Wraith, and their only source of food is specifically humans. But it's not like flesh. They suck the life force out of somebody.
Correct.
In order for them to live forever. And so
it's not really a food source as much as a energy source.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah. And the galaxy that they're in, they have like basically depleted their stores to where they have to go into a long-term hibernation for the population to...
A long-term relationship with sleep?
Yeah. In order for the human population in the entire galaxy that they're in to replenish. And the biggest thing is like, okay, they're awakened prematurely, so there's not enough food to go around. And then they find out that Earth is in another galaxy somewhere. And they're like, oh, there's billions of humans? Let's go there. And
Just like right there, you just see it, one of your Gould, and it's just, they're in a chef costume, and it's like, chef's kiss.
Well, the Gould don't eat humans. They possess them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
The Wraith.
The Wraith
Sorry.
eat the life source from other I've only seen it done to humans, but other creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And the Gould, they are like, they believe that they're better than everybody else, and so they will possess. They need a host to survive, and so they'll possess somebody and then enslave them, and that's how that works.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. But yeah, they play hard. They play off of like a couple of different just ancient mythos. Like one of the alien races is called the Asgardians. And
I've heard that term before.
Yep. But they're like what you would imagine an alien looks like. Like small, gray, black eyes.
The little gray man.
Yep. So I think that's the fun thing about the show, is because it's like each episode is them going somewhere new and meeting something new or finding something new. Mm-hmm. And then how do we overcome this kind of deal? But it's pretty fun. But yeah, Jason Momoa is in Stargate Atlantis.
He's not the main character or anything.
No,
he's just like a small side character who's like...
He's not a small side character. No, he's late in the game, so he's not like in the first season. Mm-hmm. But they introduce him and he becomes one of the main supporting characters.
Because I remember coming over and I'm like, is that Khal Drogo?
Yeah.
And you're like, who's that? I'm like, a guy from Game of Thrones. And you're like, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. He's he's in it and he plays like a stereotypical Jason Momoa role.
Yeah. Isn't he a soldier? But he's like, still like, I'm going to be me instead of fall in line soldier.
He was a soldier in his planet, and then his planet got cold by the Wraith, and he became what they call a runner. Where basically like he's a very rare human where the Wraith can't suck his life force for some reason. So they turn him into what they call a runner, and it's basically just a practice dummy. They practice their art of hunting on him. So they put a tracker in his spine and just release him into the universe, and they can track him. And so he has to run from Stargate to Stargate to get away from the Wraith who are trying to hunt him and shoot him and kill him.
Gotcha. Wouldn't it be wild, right? Mm-hmm. If Jason Momoa's character is running to this very day and he goes to a Stargate and ends up in Minecraft.
That would be funny. No,
it's all connected.
I think it would be funny if his character, when he was a runner, goes through a Stargate and ends up on a hunting preserve for the predator aliens. So he's being hunted by Wraith and predators. What are those called? What are the predator aliens called?
They're just called predators.
They're just called predators. They don't have a name. They don't have
I don't think so. So I think this is a good segue to get into my favorite sci-fi.
Okay.
But I don't think that the predators had a name like the xenomorphs did.
Okay. Yeah, see, that was my question, is because I've watched several of the movies, but I've never actually
So I'm a way bigger Alien fan than I am Predator. I've seen Predator maybe once or twice. I've seen Ridley Scott's Alien several times because those movies, chef's kiss.
Gotcha.
Are you familiar with the horror movie Alien?
I am. I have seen it, yes.
Yes.
So, quick Google search says that they are called the Yautja. The Yautja.
I wonder if that's like a name that was assigned to them in this newest movie, Prey.
They are also known as predators or hunters. Yeah.
I bet you that's what they were called because I fell asleep watching Prey. Have you seen Prey?
I started watching it, but I never finished it.
Yeah, me and Ashley were watching it, and I fell asleep on the couch and never went back and finished it. That happens a lot to me. Like, in my old age, I'll sit there and I'll be like watching it and I'll fall asleep. And I used to would fight it. And I'm just like, I just accept my fate at that point. I'm like, I'll finish it later. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's a lot of movies I don't know the ending to.
All right. So I'm trying to like verify this. The only sites that reference that as their name are Wikipedia, Xenopedia for xenomorphs,
Yeah.
and then Reddit. So there's no official fandom
So Predator.
website. Yeah.
Or The Hunter.
Predator or Hunters.
Which Predator has a new movie. It might be a movie. It might be a TV show. I think it's a movie. But Predator Badlands is coming out this year.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I don't know anything about it.
I think they dropped a trailer right when we started recording the podcast. So after the podcast, I'm going to watch this trailer.
Okay.
But getting back onto the good sci-fi, Alien. Do you have a button?
No, I was trying to find one. All I could find was this.
Which is not Alien.
No,
That's Predator.
that's Predator.
So yeah.
Or the Yautja.
Or The Hunters.
Or the Hunters.
Mm-hmm. So I watched Alien again recently.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, this movie holds up so well. For a movie that was made in like 1970,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Arnold. No, who's the main character?
Sigourney Weaver.
There we go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was going back to Predator.
Going back, you keep trying to bring it back to Predator. Stop it.
Oh, man. Anyways.
No, but it's so good. Everything about it's done so well. And something that I will hold on to till the day I die is that a movie, if it has practical effects in it,
Mm-hmm.
will hold up forever.
Yeah.
Like you can't like John Carpenter's The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
All of that's done is all those effects in that movie are done practically.
Yeah.
And one, it just makes it so much more disgusting in a good way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're into that kind of movie. And it's just like that movie was made in the 70s and it's better looking and has a better plot and just visually better than a lot of movies that come out today.
Isn't where that takes place Antarctica?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's another thing, dude. Going to Stargate. Earth's Stargate was found in Antarctica.
Is that why they call it Atlantis?
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with one another.
Well, no, they call it Atlantis because the city can
Go underwater.
Go underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a force field that allows it to stay underwater to hide itself.
So they take their Stargate and the one they found and they move it, right? Or is it they have to operate in Antarctica?
I believe. Okay, I'm wrong. No, yeah. I think they found it there and they moved it to a mountain base
Mm-hmm.
in America because the only safe place in the world is America.
USA.
Yep. And then there's a facility, an ancients facility that
Mm-hmm.
in Antarctica, and that has a bunch of ancients technology that they're harvesting and learning about and stuff. Like a big thing with the ancients is using your mind to control things, and your DNA controls it. So they've got a captain's chair that the user has to have ancient DNA to operate it.
Mm-hmm.
When they sit in it, it turns on, and then they use their mind to operate,
Got it.
be it flying or shooting, defense, whatever, or operating the shield, stuff like that. But yeah, all fun stuff.
Awesome
But
stuff.
then we come back around to it. What's going on in Antarctica?
That's where they pit the predators and the aliens against one another.
Alien vs. Predator happens in Antarctica?
Yeah.
Oh,
I need to rewatch that movie because it's not the best.
yeah.
I remember enjoying it like when it first came out when I was younger, but it's not the best movie. It's also like ruins the canon somehow or another, if I remember correctly, because like Alien takes place like 300 years in the future and Alien versus Predator is like modern day. So it doesn't work that well plot wise.
I feel like I remember Alien vs. Predator being all right. It was Aliens vs. Predator Requiem.
That's right. The
Was
sequel to that was let's make an Alien Predator hybrid.
Yeah.
Which was weird. If you dive deep into the Alien lore, there is a lot of really weird alien hybrids that they come up with in the comics and the books
Yeah.
and video games and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And this, like, I think it's all driven. So Alien is like their attempt at making the perfect human
Yeah.
using weird alien DNA that existed. So it's like they're creating xenomorphs from xenomorphs, almost, if I'm not mistaken. But it's all derived by like a humanoid entity, like
Yeah.
demon or something like that. It's really weird if you dive really deep into alien lore.
What's the one where it's like they go to a planet and the extraterrestrials are like humanoid looking, but they're like taller and like really white?
That is Prometheus.
Prometheus, there we go. Yeah,
Yep.
those boys were so white that they gave the sun a sunburn.
Those are like the Forerunners. Those
Yeah.
were the engineers in
Yeah.
Alien. So those, again, the people who came before. And they frame that like the engineers are the creators of the xenomorphs,
Mm-hmm.
but they were just more scientists trying to utilize alien DNA to create super soldiers kind of thing.
Yeah, because the xenomorphs are more so not necessarily technologically advanced, but they're a hive mentality alien, right? Like
Yeah.
they've got a queen,
Yeah.
and they all operate under the direction.
They're not all like controlled under one mind or anything. They just like really work well together.
Work ants kind of deal.
Yeah, they're more like
Worker
ants. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is weird if you dive deep into the lore. It's like you find out some really weird nonsense about xenomorphs, like that they can breathe in space.
Oh, really?
And that, like, unless you shoot them, they're like immortal.
Meaning that they live forever unless they get, so they're like elves.
They live,
They'll live forever unless you kill them.
yes. Well, it's like, they can survive the vacuum of space.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can survive like extreme temperatures, extreme environments, but if you put a bullet in their head, they die.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because it's like, that is such a large jump between Alien and Aliens, which was the first one was a horror movie and the second one was like an action movie,
Mm-hmm.
where the first one had one alien they were trying to survive.
Yeah.
So everything they tried to do to it to get rid of it, they couldn't do it.
Okay.
And then in the second one, they go into this planet, and there's like a whole hive of them, and they're just blowing them away. Like they're just like, let me shoot a, and they're just like killing them by the hundreds.
Yeah.
It was such a huge leap, and it's such a good movie, but 2 is just not as good as 1.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're all entertaining to me.
Yeah.
But they just have progressively gotten worse over time.
Yeah.
That is like one of those few properties that it didn't get better.
Yeah, I will say for specifically on the Predator side of things, like it got pretty bad for a while there.
What do you mean? There's like only 2 Predator movies.
No, because there's 2 Predators, and then there's the Alien vs. Predator. There's 2 of those.
Shoot. And then there's Predator,
Predator.
the one with Topher Grace in it. You're right.
Mhm. And that one's good.
Yeah.
And then there's the Prey.
So there is more than I remember. And then this Badlands.
But
If you do a comparison here to Aliens, right?
mm-hmm.
There's Aliens, which is the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Alien 3, Alien 4, which I think is Alien Resurrection. Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and Alien Romulus. And then there's Alien Earth coming out this year.
Alien Earth?
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to do that, but it's like xenomorphs are loose on planet Earth, but it takes place before the first movie.
Interesting.
Because like it doesn't make sense because they show Ridley, the main character, back on Earth in Alien 2
Yeah.
for a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with Earth.
There's nothing wrong with Earth.
Right. And then they go back to Earth at the end. I thought they were going to be like they show up to Earth at the end of the fourth one. And, that's supposed to be the big finale. They finally make it back home.
Yeah.
And that's a better opportunity to start Alien Earth, the TV show, after like, they accidentally bring an alien with them to Earth and it multiplies,
Yeah.
Be such a better spot there.
I'm trying to find an answer to this, and I was trying to figure out how many Xenomorph comics there are.
A lot. Like it's going to be
a lot.
There's a lot. There's no like definitive answer. just like Power Rangers. There's like a massive amount of Power Ranger comics. A ridiculous amount of comics that like.
Speaking of sci-fi.
Power Rangers.
Dun, 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 dun. I feel like that's kind of a big hit right now where people are taking little bits from the show, different Power Ranger shows, and making like quick little, real videos out of them.
Yeah. I mean, people are doing that with a lot of stuff. I found a lot of movies to watch just because I saw a clip from it. And it's like, I would have never gave this movie a chance if I didn't see a piece of this movie and thought, oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
So, but Power Rangers, that's something else I watched a lot of as a kid.
Yeah, I remember you having some Power Ranger toys growing up.
I still have them. I just cleared out the rest of my belongings from the house I was living in before I got married.
Oh, really?
And I found all my Power Ranger toys.
Nice. So they're in your closet now?
They're not a closet. They're in a spare room on the floor because I got a lot of stuff out. So
I respect that.
We don't have room, but I got to get the stuff. So there you go.
There you go. Yep. Cool, man. Well, my wife told me I had to give some honorable mentions.
Yeah. So before we do that, let's give a quick quick timeline of sci-fi in general.
Let's do it.
So do you know what is considered the first science fiction property? What's considered that?
I do not.
It is a little book. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Frankenstein.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
That was written in 1818.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. It combines speculative science with gothic horror.
Whoa.
Gothic horror. That's something that's just been done so much. And some of it really good and some of it very bad.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember that Frankenstein movie that came out? It was supposed to be a part of the Dark Universe.
That was the guy who played Harvey Dent, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was like that. Frankenstein and gargoyles.
I never saw it, but I remember it.
Oh, you never saw it?
No.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there was an age there where it was like, let's start this movie universe.
Well, yeah, because
or just in general, movies in like between 2005 and 2010.
Yeah.
Just really weird movies coming out.
Yeah, this one was weird because like the bad guys are like these demonic vampires. Or I guess they are demons. They're demons.
You can just say vampires.
No, they are demons. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to say that they were vampires, but they're not. They're demons. And then gargoyles are actually like a sub genre of angels that were sent down to Earth to guard Earth from these demons. And they basically try to team up with Frankenstein to defeat the demons.
We had a lot of movies like that. Like,
yeah.
What was it? We had The Mummy.
Yeah, with Tom Cruise.
With Tom Cruise.
Not the good OG Mummy.
Mm-hmm. We had Dracula Untold.
Yeah.
Which that one was Luke
It's like
Evans.
The origin story.
Yeah. And then we got The Invisible Man. But
we did get The Invisible Man, you're right.
Right. And out of those four, the only one that was actually good was The Invisible Man, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they did it different, and it was very sci-fi and less like, well, it all could be considered sci-fi.
Yeah.
But less like chemical change, he's actually invisible. Like his body's invisible. Is more technology based of like, I'm using technology to make myself invisible.
Yeah.
It was like a suit.
Yeah.
It was such a good movie.
Awesome. So he didn't have to strip down naked like in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That or Hollow Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was also actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah. That's what I felt like when all those monster horror movies came out for that time frame. I felt like they were trying to relaunch the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Right.
Because they had all the same players. They had Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They had the Invisible Man. Who else did they have?
They had Sean Connery.
Well, no, in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, yeah, they had Alan Quartermain. They had Nemo. They had the wife of Dracula. Did
they have Dory and Marlin?
No, they couldn't afford them.
Yeah.
Who else? Mr. Gray.
Yep. Dorian Gray, right?
Dorian Gray. Mm-hmm.
The man who was immortal. Is that that's
immortal man? Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who?
What did you do? Like, hey, dude, what's your superpower? I live forever. Yeah, but what do you do? I live forever.
Well, but he can't be killed. That's the thing. Like, there's nothing that can kill him unless he looks like all his pain and age is put on his picture.
Mm-hmm.
So any kind of stab or shot or mangle or whatever, it's all pushed onto the portrait.
It ends up, hey, bro, look at this. What is it? Oh,
yeah,
it's just a picture of him.
Yeah, the moment he looks at the portrait, all of it's transferred back onto him.
So if anybody else looks at it, it's just like horrific looking painting of a really decrepit old man.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yep.
Cool.
Pretty messed up.
So, 1818, we had Frankenstein, and then a few other. We're getting back to the timeline, by the way.
Sure. No, good call.
So the 1800s in general, we had Jules Verne and H.G. Wells. Do you know what they wrote?
That would be
We'll start with Jules Verne.
What is it? War of the Worlds.
That was
H.G. Wells.
That was H.G. Wells, yeah.
Yeah. What did Jules Verne do?
Journey to the Center of the Earth and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
There we go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. H.G. Wells also wrote The Time Machine.
Really?
Yep. So with those books, they introduced time travel, space exploration, and alien invasion themes.
And exploring the depths of the oceans.
Sure. Yep.
You're like, okay, whatever.
Sorry. Space and ocean exploration. Nitpick Jairus' notes.
Anyways, okay.
So then in the 1920s to the 1940s, again, these are just like kind of generalized plot points, but like the major ones is like we had a rise of the pulp kind of era of stuff. So like magazines like The Amazing Stories and stories, a lot of stuff focused on adventure, aliens, robots, and future tech. And you had people like Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and Robert Heinlein, just famous authors in that genre.
Okay.
No really given specifics, but
Yeah.
They had the 1940s, 1950s. That was the golden age.
1940s to 1950s?
Mm-hmm. And that was like, hard science, space travel, and technological optimism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Technological optimism. So the Jetsons. When the Jetsons was like...
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's like that feeling of like happy futuristic kind of stuff.
Now I got to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
When did the Jetsons air?
And then we're going to make a... Go ahead and answer your question. When it was the 1960s.
1962, yeah.
So, but yeah, that would be part of that if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Just more happier, the family of the future.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to jump ahead a little bit.
Okay.
Because this is where we're going to get back into movies.
Okay.
So can you name the sci-fi and pop culture 1970s to 1990s famous films?
I mean, Predator's got to be one of them, right?
Not on my list, but yeah.
Okay. Star Wars.
Star Wars. There we go. That's the one I was trying to lead you into.
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
I can't think of any other ones.
Come on now.
Star Wars, Star Trek, Star
Mountain.
Star Mountain.
I don't know. No, so we have The Twilight Zone.
Oh.
One of my favorite TV shows.
I always keep on forgetting about that.
Was it because you never really watched it?
I never really watched it, and I kind of lumped it in with like suspense thriller. It is sci-fi, but
it's very sci-fi. And if you watch it now, it is very well written, and it's not like spiritually compromising. You know what I mean? It was always, it wasn't preaching, and spreading the love of Christ.
Yeah.
But it was always good versus evil.
Yeah.
In that sense, like there's like, I think there was one where like the devil shows up and it's like, they had to be against the devil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were opposing the devil,
that
kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is always nice to see.
For sure.
You're going to always have like a good versus evil.
Yep.
And it's nice to see when they're not portraying the evil as good.
Correct.
Which we have spoke on before.
We have talked about that before.
Some other hits, and these are some of my favorite. Blade Runner.
Spaceballs?
No, not Spaceballs. I've never actually really seen that film.
Oh, you haven't? Oh.
No. I know what it's about. I mean, I know it's a parody on Star Wars and whatnot. But Blade Runner.
Okay. With Harrison Ford.
Great movie.
Yep.
Fantastic movie. Even the sequel was pretty good.
Blade Runner.
2047.
2047.
That was a good movie.
What's the 2047?
Just the year it happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing crazy.
Yep. Not too far off.
Got it. Okay.
The Matrix.
The Matrix?
The Matrix. You don't think The Matrix is sci-fi?
No, but I thought we were in the 70s and 80s.
I said 70s to the 90s.
Oh. Okay.
Pay attention, John.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, The Matrix is
that was probably one of the bigger ones. But again, it's like another one of those, in my opinion, that it started very strong and just kind of got worse as the movies went along.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people didn't like number 4.
Number 4 is awful.
Yeah,
it's not.
I've heard. I tried to start watching it and I couldn't get very far.
It's just like, okay, let's put it this way. It's like, I think that it's a cop-out when you create characters and you don't even attempt to cause, especially when you have something like The Matrix where you have risks of characters dying. There is a lot of problems that you're dealing with and high risk, high reward with what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Not a single character dies in The Matrix 4. No one dies in The Matrix 4. Not only does no one die, spoiler alert, everybody, by the way, they bring back Neo.
Yeah.
It's like a huge point of the third movie of him sacrificing himself to save everybody.
Exactly.
And they just bring him back just so they can make more money. It was very much a let's make money movie. It wasn't let's make a movie to make a good story.
Yeah.
Tell a great story.
Yeah. Well, in that case, Stargate came out in the 90s, so Stargate would be a big one.
Yeah.
Farscape, is that on there?
But no.
Oh, that's not that big anyways. So.
Yeah. That's why it's not on my list.
I know there's probably at least 1 to 2 people who listen to this podcast who have heard of and or watched Farscape.
All right, everybody. All the big Farscape?
Yeah, don't watch it. It's
everybody, all the big Farscapes, let's all join hands in solidarity in the comments section below.
Yeah.
Let John know you're here. Don't let him feel alone.
No, I didn't even finish it. I watched like a couple episodes and I was like,
hey, don't be modest.
This is too weird. No, it's weird.
Everybody get out there and join John.
No, don't watch it.
And let us all know about Farscape.
Don't watch it. Anyways, yeah.
So let's, Matrix and then Alien. Which is, again, one of the best sci-fi movies ever.
According to you, yep.
Based off of fact. So let's get into the modern sci-fi era.
Okay.
We have, some big ones, I would say.
Okay, hold on. So nothing about Edgar Rice Burroughs in your timeline there?
No.
That's weird because he wrote...
No one cares about Tarzan.
No, he wrote all of the John Carter books. He wrote the...
This is a very, very vague, brief summary in general. I'm just giving examples within these eras.
Yeah.
So there you go. And then, the modern era, which is, 2000s to today.
Okay.
And you have shows like Black Mirror, The Expanse, and Dune.
The Expanse?
Yeah.
That's a big hitter for him?
I hear a lot about The Expanse.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's pretty big.
Okay.
Just because it's not big in your life doesn't mean it's not big.
All right. I will say I did enjoy the Tomorrow War. Did you ever watch that?
That was the one with Chris Pratt.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good movie.
That was good. What are some modern sci-fis that I've enjoyed? Oh, of course. Sequel to Star Wars. No. Just kidding.
Oh, gotta love that.
Gotta love it.
Rise of Skywalker.
I love...
Hey, what's your name? Rey. What's your last name? Star Wars.
I love when they make fun of it. There's like an animation of Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting on the volcano planet.
Uh-huh.
And then Anakin lands a hit on Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan's like, oh, shoot. Well, I'll just force heal real quick.
You can do that?
And Anakin's like, wait, we can do that? And he's like, yeah, of course, we can just force heal. And he's like, I want to change sides. Like, no, it's too late.
Oh, man. Yeah. we can get on that for a second. Like
Dumb.
If you compare Star Trek to Star Wars,
Yeah.
right? I know there's that huge debate all the time, right? Star Trek, when it comes to storytelling, is better.
Okay.
Star Wars is more approachable and more easy to get into.
Okay.
Because it's a lot more basic than Star Trek.
Yeah.
But Star Trek is so much more expansible. There's so much more media to consume.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to get into a deep, deep lore
filled
universe.
There we go.
Thank you. Star Trek is the way to go. If you want something a little bit more simple, Star Wars. They're both good for one reason or another, but there is more good Star Trek media properties, whether it be movie or TV show, than there are Star Wars.
So it'd be the equivalent to, in fantasy, Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, they're both good, but for their own reasons.
Yeah. But Lord of the Rings is heavy in the lore, but Chronicles of Narnia is very easy to consume and approachable.
Yes, really, one is more child-oriented, made for children. Star Wars is made for children. It really is. Let's be honest. It's a Disney film.
Yeah. Well, now it is.
Now it is. Even back then, it was made for kids.
Okay. All right.
Star Trek was not made for kids.
Yeah, I got you.
So there you go. I mean, that's kind of how it is. It's like if you want something that's a little bit more adult-themed, but not like inappropriate, Star Trek.
Got it.
But both are good. Older Star Trek is, though, harder to watch. Like the just the original Star Trek show, it is a little cheesy and low budget. But if you can kind of pick any, because there's so many different Star Trek shows, you can kind of just pick one and go.
Yeah. So Star Wars is for kids. Star Trek is for adults. What are we for? I had to throw it in there.
Apparently multiple times.
Yep. That's right. Our podcast is for Gondor.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch Dune?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Dune's really good.
It is pretty good. Yeah, there's a podcast I listened to, and they talked about Dune at one point, and they're like, I feel like, what's the character, Charlemagne?
That is Paul Atreides.
No. What's the actor's name?
Oh, Timothy Chalamet.
There we go.
I said it wrong on purpose.
They're like, I feel like he could be in anything. I was like,
and he is. He shows up like
he's in a lot of stuff.
I've seen so many movies with him in it, and he is that versatile of an actor.
Yeah.
I watched him, in Dune. Then he is Willy Wonka.
Yep.
In Wonka. And then he played what's that artist's name? Like there was a, biopic that came out recently about, I
can't think of who you're.
You know what I'm talking about, though. And he plays like this artist. So it's just like he is a really good actor.
Yeah.
He's also in that really funny SNL skit where they're trying to be like millennial rappers.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what I'm talking about? Yee.
Yeah. He's in it with
Pete Davidson. There we go, Pete Davidson.
This is saying that he was in Interstellar.
He might have been like...
I don't remember him.
I need to rewatch Interstellar then. Great sci-fi.
Yeah, that was a great sci-fi. I've been listening actually to the soundtrack this week.
It's such a great soundtrack. Anything that Christopher Nolan puts out is a hit.
He was in Little Women.
Was he one of the Little Women? Was he one of the Little
Was he one of the Little Women? No, I don't think so. He was in that Netflix movie, The King. I don't know if you watched that.
Bob Dylan. He played Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. Yeah, I'm seeing it right here. Yeah.
See? I figured it out before you did.
See? What are some other things he was in? Hostiles. I didn't watch that. It's a Western. Edgar Scissorhands.
Edgar Scissorhands? What?
That's what it says. Edgar Scissorhands, not Edward Scissorhands.
Getting into some weird stuff here.
Yeah, why is he like trying to follow in Johnny Depp's footsteps?
He kind of is, isn't he?
He kind of is. They're gonna revamp Pirates, and he's gonna be
I was gonna say just Timothy Chalamet It's just going to get out there and he's just going to play all the roles that Johnny Depp played.
I think it would be funny if Johnny Depp did a parody sketch of him being in Dune, just to get back at him. That'd be funny. Anyways,
That's pretty much all what we have on Sci-Fi.
yeah, that's it for the most part. I do have a little corner if you want to get into that action.
Hey, then let's go ahead and let Tyler know what we're about to do.
Tyler, we are going to transition into
The Corner. Step inside, if you dare. Shadows move, mysteries whisper, and the unknown awaits. Welcome to The Corner.
Okay, I have a story for you.
Yeah?
And it's relatable to what we've been talking about.
Okay.
It's sci-fi.
Okay.
So there is a document that was released by the CIA. And in the document, they mentioned that they have a file that has testimonies, pictures, drawings of an event that happened in Siberia
Okay.
that involved Soviet soldiers and aliens.
Aliens.
So, and okay, the reason I'm doing it this way and I'm not just generally talking about aliens is because there's a lot to say when it comes to aliens. And we're just going to touch on different things because there's so much. But this is an event that allegedly happened in Russia where Soviet soldiers shot down a UFO.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
Allegedly. This is all allegedly.
This is what the document says.
Yes.
Okay.
So the KGB had all this documentation, and with the fall of the Soviet Union, somehow the CIA got their hands on this document. But yeah, so the soldiers shot down a UFO, and there were 5 small entities that stepped out of said UFO, and the soldiers were surrounding or whatever. These entities morphed together into a singular ball-like object.
What?
And it started like doing this, kind of like a rattling, like shaking.
So
feel,
all 5 of the entities get together.
And they morph into a perfect sphere. And then the sphere kind of like builds up, almost like it's building up, and then emits a bright light.
Jeez.
And it petrifies a certain number of Soviet soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it shoots through, turns them to stone, and I think it was only like 1 or 2 soldiers survive. But then the sphere disappears.
Spooky.
And so they, the KGB, they come and they clean up. They get rid of the petrified soldiers. They get rid of the ship. And they collect all the documentation for it, catalog it, put it away. And then somehow the CIA gets their hand on this document and they have released it saying like, hey, this is what we've got. Allegedly, this has happened. So, yeah, interesting story. But there's a lot of stories that have to do with aliens in Russia.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Is it because Russia is really expansive? Really large amount of space with a lot of land and not a lot of people?
You could say that, but I think what it is there's a lake in Russia called Lake Baikal, and there's a really...
How do you take appointments?
Baikal.
Baikal.
Yeah. No, but there's a alien-esque story that came out of that once again had to do with the Russian military and aliens. But I think that if there were alien creatures like we know them as today, like small gray men with black eyes, I think that there would be a base in Russia in Lake Baikal.
So like a Area 51 Russia?
No, because the Russians don't control it. The aliens control that space.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think the more and more I'm hearing about alien stories, I don't think they're from outer space. I think they're from either the ocean or from what people will call Hollow Earth.
Gotcha.
And they come up to our side in a sense to test technology.
Full circle, baby. Full circle.
Yeah.
Going right back to Atlantis and Jason Momoa.
That's right. But yeah, at some point we're going to have to get in and talk about Admiral Byrd. He's like notoriously the guy for Hollow Earth because he did an exploration to Antarctica. He was like the first, I think, military dedicated exploration to Antarctica. And he flew a plane over the North Pole, and he said that there was a circular space, and inside it was green vegetation in the middle of the...
So like a perfectly livable land, just a small mount in the middle of Antarctica that's growing plants.
That's shooting down in, I think is what he was alleging to.
Gotcha.
And it's just the entrance to it, to Hollow Earth, was at the North Pole.
And then he goes down there, and a man crawls out, and it's Jack Black, and he says, "I am Steve."
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I have for aliens, is just this really bizarre story where they turn Russian soldiers into stone by morphing into a sphere and shooting out some...
They literally showed up and said, "Want to play ball?"
Yeah, exactly. "Oh, you want to shoot my ship down? I'm going to turn you to stone."
Jeez. Like petrified, like turned to stone, or were they just like frozen, like in fear type petrified? Like, what did they die?
No, like what a petrified is like. I see what you mean. No, they were literally turned
to stone.
Got it. If you have a petrified wood, it's almost like it's a stony substance.
Right. So just
no longer like
they were just Medusa's minions.
Yeah, Medusa's minions.
Right.
That's the best way to look at it.
Bring it back again. They kind of Power Rangered up, where they all morphed together.
Yep.
And they shot out their Medusa beam.
Yeah. To suck out the life essence of the human.
Gould.
Right.
Gould.
Oh, man.
Well, thank you for bringing some great content to us on today's corner.
Thank you for listening to said content. And we'll let everyone listening decide if it was great or not.
All right. So everybody in the comments, don't forget to comment about Edgewood or Edge. What was it? Edge Drop. What was the show you said don't anybody watch?
Oh, I'm not going to say it now. I don't want anyone to watch it.
They'll just rewind.
Okay. Farscape.
Farscape. That's it.
Edgewood. Where did you even come?
There is, what is it? There's another sci-fi show. It's like Edgewood or Burnwood, or I have to look it up, but that's very much similar to like X-Files. Man, we could really get into this. Now that we're wrapping up the episode, I'm going to start naming off all these different great sci-fi shows. The Fringe.
Yeah, that one was
Fringe was great.
Yep.
I think X-Files was, really great.
Yeah.
We didn't even barely talked about Black Mirror, which is like a modern Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What's the Maze Runner show? Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, there's so many great sci-fi shows.
Sci-fi though, that's more. I guess that would be more apocalyptic.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Yeah. Dang.
Anyways, so after talking about all this sci-fi stuff, I just want to let you guys know, Christ is Lord,
and the kingdom is now.
We are
the saints that serve.
Now tell us funny jokes to end this out.
What did the tree say to the dog?
Bark.
No, it said, "Quit peeing on me, you sicko." I got jokes.